Hello, welcome to lesson 10-2, Review for Mastery, and we're going to do the practice side as well. This one is finding the volume of prisms and cylinders. So in order to do this one, what you need to do is basically know that volume is area for 3D shapes. So volume is area for 3D shapes. So what I mean by that is volume is the inside. Okay, so on here, one way to do it is you can count up all the cubes if you're given a picture like this. So we count it up: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would be 12, right? Now let's count how many back it goes. It goes 12, one set of 12. So 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, 12. Now these red ones is because I have 12 in each layer here, if you see that. So each one of these would be 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 12 times 6 is going to be 60, 72. Now, if you're wondering, yes, there's an easier way than counting up these squares. It's almost the same as if I were to do 4 times 5, right? And I would say find the area of this. And I would have these set out for you: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You wouldn't want to count this. You would just say 5 times 4, right? The way you can think of volume, especially when it's in a rectangular shape, is as if you're stacking blocks, right? So if I stack each one of these, I just count them up. So all I need to do, I'm going to erase all this so it looks very clean for you. And we're going to start with the easier way. Pick one of the points. I'm going to pick a point here. So by points, I mean pick a corner. You have a corner right here. If you look at this, there are 3 lines that hit this corner. 3 lines that hit this corner right here. Why does it keep on deleting? Let's try that again. Alright, there we go. So these 3 lines, if you just multiply these 3, you found the volume. 4, this one is 3 because this side is 3. 4 times 3 times 6. Let's try that out. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 6 is going to be 72. Same answer as what we got when we counted it up, but much quicker. Go ahead and copy that down. Now, volume of prism, they did the same work over here as well. Okay, but what work I really want you to copy down is what I showed you right here. Is that you put a vertex point right here, a point where it's on a corner, and all 3 of these is what you're multiplying. So there's no confusion when you're multiplying for prisms. You put a point there, multiply all 3 numbers. Okay, let's try complete to find the volume of each prism. Let's try number 1. So the way they approach this is they say find the base here. Now the reason why they say find the base is because if you multiply 8 times 6, you're going to get 48. What they're saying is if you stack, think of it as keep on stacking the same size paper. If I keep stacking the same paper over and over, eventually it's going to stack up to where it's an actual block of paper. So all you're doing is finding the area of this square, and then what's the height. So you have 8 times 6, and then times 4. So this becomes 48. Let's do this. So there's no confusion here. We have 8 times 6 times 4. 192. So this is 192 centimeters cubed. Notice that this is 3 because we are in the 3rd dimension. So this is 3D. So we're dealing with 3D shapes. You're going to have a 3 right there. Number 2, I want you to do the same thing, but make it very easy for yourself. Put a point, multiply all 3 of these lines, and you will have your answer. So number 2, do yourself. Now, on here, it's the same kind of process. What you want to do is find the area of just this triangle, and then think of stacking it. Now, when you're stacking it, you're just multiplying by your height. So the area for this would be 3 times 4, so half base times height. Your base is going to be 3. Your height is going to be 4. 3 times 4 times your height. Your height's on your outside, so height is right here. So how high did you stack these triangles up? 6. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 6 times 6, 36. Let's take that slower. So if you were unsure how I got that. 3 times 4, one more time, is 12. 12 times a half. This is why I'm redoing it, is because of the fraction. You may not have seen how I got it so quick. So 12 times 1 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 6 times 6 is 36. Okay? So let me bring attention to that because I know this is the most confusing part. When you multiply this, you'll get the fraction here, 12 over 2. 2 goes in 12, 6 times. So if you really want to make it clear, you can put this over 1. Now, for a cylinder, we're doing the same thing. Remember back to your worksheets that the area of a circle is pi r squared. So the area of the base times the height. You have pi r squared, right? And then you're going to multiply by the height. Pi r squared is going to be, for this one, 4 times 4. So pi r squared is pi times 4 squared. This is 16 pi. And then multiply by the height. So I'm going to change the colors. Multiply by 7 is the height. 16 times 7 is going to be 112 pi. Let's plug that in over here. So pi times 16 times 7, it's the same work we did right here. This is going to be 16, oh, sorry. This is going to be 112 pi. Now they want an actual answer for this, so we're going to do 112 times 3.14. This is equal to 351.68. So it's about, this is the squiggly, so it's about 351.68 units cubed. So if you notice, let's recap. All of these follow the same process. Basically, you find the area of the bottom, and then you multiply the height. Find the area of the triangle, and then multiply by the height. Find the area of the circle, and then multiply by the height. So it's only one more step than what you've been doing. You've already found the shapes, the area of these shapes, just the circle, just the triangle, in previous worksheets and classes. So all you need to do now is multiply by the height, and you have the area of that 3D shape. So over here, complete to find this one, volume of the cylinder. Let's see. Oh, I feel silly. I was putting this over here. We already have the work. I don't know why I was doing all that. I apologize. Go ahead and erase this. Let's do this one more time. Well, it's good practice. So on here we have pi r squared. So we're finding the area of the circle. This is going to be pi 5 squared. 5 squared is 25 pi. Now we're going to multiply by the height. The height was 3. So we're going to say times the height times 3 times 3. This is going to be 75 pi. If you would like, go ahead and plug in here. I really feel like sometimes this makes it more confusing. But if you like plugging in there, do that. If not, just write it the same way I wrote it. I really think that this makes more sense. It flows better for me than plugging in. I don't know about for you, but if you would like to do this, you could always put in the 5 squared here times your height, which is 3, 25 pi times 3, which is about 75 pi. And then 75 times 3.14, 235.5. All right, let's start on the practice part. So we're going to have to use 3.14 for pi, so we don't want it in terms of pi for our answer. Notice the formula is pi r squared times h for a cylinder. For a prism, it's the volume equals base times height. So you only have two formulas, but the easiest way to think of this is what I was talking about, is find the area of the bottom and then multiply by the height. So that is the base times height formula. So for a prism, we find the area of the bottom here, and then we're going to multiply by the height. For prisms, you have this nice trick of basically putting a point on the corner, drawing 3 lines here, and now finding out what each one of those are and then multiplying them. So this one would be your 12 times 5, basically that's your bottom, times your height. Here, I don't want to put it in, I want to write it as parentheses. So 12 times 5 is the bottom, and then your height. 12 times 5 is going to be 60. Why is the computer going so slow? All right, 60 times 3. 60 times 3 is 180, and that's feet cubed. Let's go to number 2. So here's how you would do number 2. Find the area of the circle. Area of the circle, the formula is pi r squared. Okay? So if they don't give it to you on the bottom, you can go to the top. Both of the circles, the top and bottom, are the same. So find out what the radius is. It's 4. So do 4 times 4. You got 16 pi. 16 times 3.14, and work that out. And then multiply by the height. So now you're going to multiply by 9. If that was too fast, because I don't want to show you all the work, I want you to rewind. Listen to number 2 again. I actually worked it out for you. All I did was say how to do it, though. So go back to number 2 if you're unsure what to do. I'll leave this formula up. Number 3 is going to be a prism. So I want you to refer to number 1. So this is like number 1. Number 4, that one is a triangle on the bottom. So you're going to have to find the area of a triangle. So you're going to do half base times height. Right? Find the area of the triangle, and then you're going to have to multiply it again by whatever this height is. And I'll give you the hint. Here's your height. So what they're saying is, you have the area of this triangle. Now stack it 3 meters high. And how much is the volume? Okay. Let's work out number 4 actually, just to make sure we have this down. So we have the base is going to be 8. So half base is 8 right here, times 8 times your height for the triangle. There's 2 heights, but they're different heights. Then this is going to be 10. After you have that, multiply it by the height, which is 3, height of this part. So 8 times 10 is 80. 80 times 3 is 240. And then 240 times 1/2 is the same thing as dividing by 2. So this becomes 120. Once again, 240 times 1/2 is the same thing as just saying 2 goes into 240 how many times. And that's how I got 120 meters. And we're in the 3rd dimension, so we're going to say cubed. Okay. Number 5, same process on this one as well. Here's the difference, though. Notice how on here, I could have redrawn this. I could have actually redrawn it as the rectangle being on the bottom. Let me think how I'm going to make this. So here's a rectangle. And then you have the triangle over here. It went crazy. Here, let me make this line straight. So if you notice, I was actually redrawing 4 right here. This side area, I'm putting on the bottom. So why I'm redrawing it is number 5 is actually very similar to number 4, but it's redrawn. So instead of saying the bottom is where you're actually finding the base, you need to think of the base as the harder shape. So the harder shape here is the triangle. That way, you can say what the height is, and your height is actually one of the sides of the rectangle. So what you're going to do is find the area of the triangle, half base times height, times, and then whatever your height is there. So find the area of this triangle here, and then multiply by the height. Number 6 is going to be finding the area of a circle, pi r squared times your height. So find the area of this circle here and multiply by 12. Okay, I think 7, 8, 9 you can do from scratch. Work those out. 10, 11, and 12. I want you to try your best on here, but only give it about, let's say, 3 to 5 minutes on each one. If you can't figure it out in 3 to 5 minutes, then move on because we have more to do, and wait till I'm able to go over this with you. But do try this. Don't just skip it. Okay, it's very important that you're able to try to make sense of this. I want you to have some kind of guess on here. Okay, so that's the end of lesson 10-2.